Hey, welcome to the Nick and Nick podcast. Thanks for joining us today. This podcast is powered by Royalty Roofing and Renovations. Crown your home and your commercial property and your farm property with Royalty. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Nick. Got a special guest with us from the Kodiak Baptist Mission, all the way from Kodiak, Alaska. Thanks for joining us, Kelli.
Thank you.
Kelli Foreman.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Kelli Foreman from Kodiak, Alaska, from the Kodiak Baptist Mission.
Yeah.
I know you've been here for 10, 14 days.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
So your organization's up in Kodiak, but you're actually from here in Nebraska. What's the town that you're actually from?
We live in between the Tri-City areas. So went to high school in Shelton, graduated college from Kearney.
Okay. And so what's the Tri-City? Shelton?
No, it's Kearney, Grand Island, Hastings. So my parents are on a farm right in between all those towns.
I know a lot about that farm. Jill talks about it all the time.
It
But
is.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing for the last 10, 14 days since you've been in town.
Yeah, it was a trip to come home and visit family. I don't get
So not a
home.
work trip, but
No,
Okay.
no, it wasn't. I actually, I dried up my cow a week early, so I
Excuse
could
me?
get- Yeah, so we have a farm up there, and I have a little dairy, a micro dairy.
Okay.
And so I was looking at the numbers, and I was like, hey, if I dry this cow up a week earlier, I can get some family time before the goats are due to kid. My first goat's due on the 28th of May. So
what does that mean?
That means that the goats are going.
You're speaking farm.
Yeah, farm. So
Okay.
the goats are going to start having babies. Kids.
Okay.
That's what you call a baby goat, kid. So they're
Okay.
going to have kids in May. So I had this window to visit my parents. It had been a long time since I'd gotten home in May. I think we looked back, it was 2018 since I had been home in this season.
Right.
And so being able to get out to the farm, spend time with family, and just relax a little bit before summer.
And fly a kite in the 30-mile-an-hour winds out on the...
it is windy in Kodiak,
Ridiculous.
but we have like the mountains and the trees, and it is intense.
So you got to go out there. I know you got to tour a farm here or a
I
dairy.
toured Bryant's Dairy. They have a dairy here, a raw milk dairy, and right outside of Omaha. And then I went to another one outside of Gothenburg, the Milk House, and they have a raw milk dairy there as well. Being a raw milk dairy, it was fun to be able to kind of see some other.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about that later in terms of how the Kodiak Dairy fits into the Kodiak Baptist Mission, how they interface and integrate. However, you also got to attend the graduation party.
I did.
While you were here.
My nephew graduated. He's the only one out of all the kids that I was there for his birth, and then I got to be there for his graduation.
So is there a connection there? Or
No,
are you like the
there's not.
godmother or is godmother?
No,
or
there's no godmother situation. It just worked out. And it just happened. You know, my sister and I are really close, and I was like, hey, can I come and help? Because I never get to help because I'm always so far away. So it worked out really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know she appreciated
Yeah, it
you
was
being
fun.
there. I wasn't able to make it. However, I heard good things about it. And you guys killed it again.
We had fun.
You can turn out a party from what I
tried.
understand. But
We tried.
Yeah, congratulations to Liam for graduating.
Yeah.
Another one down.
Yep.
One more to go for them. So
Yeah.
and yourself, you have
3
I know
boys.
about
Yep, 3 boys.
One of them made the trip.
Yep, the
How
youngest.
come he got to come?
He's the youngest. We
the
homeschool our
baby?
2 youngers, and so my husband had the 2 big boys, and he's like, probably should take Fletch with you.
So I can't imagine, is it public or private school, or what do you have up there for the kids? Are they
It's
homeschooled?
public. So my oldest son goes to the middle school, and then my 6th grader and my 2nd grader, we opted to homeschool, but it's through the school district.
Okay.
So they still go to certain classes, whether it be the middle school or we have other activities, but it just allows us for freedom.
Yeah. And then I know, is one of them a baseball player or all 3 of them?
The 2 older
Yeah, I'm
ones.
going to move this back.
Yeah, we got a little plant. The two older are baseballs.
Okay.
So even last night, I was watching their baseball game on our little baseball app until like 11:15, and then waiting for the call to hear their debrief.
So they
from
got their
the
game changer going and they're
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Halfway across or pretty much all the way across the
Yeah,
country, able
yeah, it
to
was. It
stay
was fun,
tuned
though.
in. What is the time change? From
3
here to there?
hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're 3 hours
Behind. Yeah.
Gotcha. And your husband, is he a part of the Kodiak Baptist
So
Mission
he
as well?
originally came. That's how we met again. We were both Nebraskans,
Okay.
and so we met in Nebraska going to church camp. But we
Okay.
met again in Kodiak. We were both summer volunteers with Kodiak Baptist Mission at their day camp. But when he came back, we were adults at that point, and I was like, wow, like little Stephen Foreman grew up, and so we met up here. However, he does not work for Kodiak Baptist Mission. So
Okay.
now he has a private practice, LPC, And so
LPC?
licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
So he has a private clinic with a couple of clinicians, but then he also has Kodiak Scenic Tours. So he does whale watching tours.
Okay.
He's a licensed captain. And so like this morning, he was taking guys out to do water samples in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a car rental business and then also a vacation rental.
You got a lot going on.
Kind of do a little bit of stuff, a couple of things.
A few things here and there. Let's go. I like to play a game when we have people on. We call it On the Spot.
Okay.
So let's go. Let's start with this one. Let's go here or there.
Sure.
And I think you've already answered this in your intro.
Yeah.
Back to your intro. You're the assistant executive director.
Yep.
Perhaps evolving into a different position within
the board of directors has offered me the executive director job. So our current executive director is nearing towards retirement. So that is newly in the works. So
Okay.
that job has been offered to me.
And that's
at this
probably
point.
good. This has given you, coming home has given you an opportunity to kind of think about that.
Yep.
Transition into a new role perhaps in the
Truly
organization.
happened the day before I left. They
Oh,
made
wow.
that vote.
So that helps to be able to get out of there and
Yeah.
kind of get a
Take a couple
different
minutes.
perspective on the whole thing
Yeah.
as you make a decision moving forward in that. But back to On the Spot. So let's go either or. I think you already answered
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
What would you consider home now that you've been there for
Right.
21 years or whatever?
Yeah. Nebraska is always home.
Right.
That's home. We've been called to Alaska. That's
Okay.
where we're called.
Mhm.
And so there's a difference in home and where the Lord has placed you
I was
at
going to
that
say,
moment.
explain called.
Yeah, that is we truly feel like that that God has called us to that. You know,
Mhm.
it's that being where he wants you to be. The little small voice, obviously, we're Christians. That's where we believe, that
Mhm.
orients where we go.
Right. And it only could be God
It is.
calling you to go to
Yeah.
Alaska. I mean,
People think it's fantastic. It rained 90 inches last year. on
90
us.
inches. I think we were maybe at 9.
Yeah, and like December, it rained 28 days straight.
Right. And how about the light dark thing? Is
It's
that
dark.
a thing?
It's dark in the winter a lot.
Okay.
It's not quite as bad where we're at, but it'll get light about 10:30 on
10
a cloudy
a.m.?
day a.m.
Okay.
In the winter, dark by for sure 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Gotcha.
But then we're almost on the longest day.
Okay.
So we have almost continual light. I remember, the only time I'm up at midnight was when I had babies. And so I remember
Mhm.
watching Steven going across the channel with the boat at midnight holding one of our babies.
Mhm.
And I could still see him.
That's crazy.
outside,
It's
so-
hard to wrap your mind around
Yeah.
that when we've always been on the same schedule here.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can get a lot done in one day.
Yeah,
I
you-
mean, if you
you
got
can.
20 some hours of sunlight or whatever it
Yeah.
ends up being, you can get a lot of outdoor work
Yeah.
done. So always Nebraska will be considered your home.
Yeah.
You're just on assignment in
Yes,
Alaska,
that's
Kodiak,
right.
Alaska.
That's right.
I get it. Okay, let's go. And that takes me to the weather preference.
Yeah.
Either or. What's better weather? Your preferred here or there? I mean, we get all 4 seasons here. I don't know
Yep.
what you get there.
We kind of do, but not so much. And I used to say that the weather didn't bother me.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's now that I know all the benefits of the sun
Mm-hmm.
that it bothers me.
Okay.
And I'll admit to it now. I'm not too big to be like, yeah, it bothers
Mhm.
me that it's never sunny in
So you're
Kodiak.
a little bit mad about that?
It's frustrating. The last couple of years have been really tough. Like I feel like we've gotten just an extra dose of not sun.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah,
So less than usual?
less than usual.
Yeah, that can take its toll over time.
does.
In many ways, mentally as well as
Yes,
physically, as it relates to
absolutely.
the vitamin D and then all the hormonal
Absolutely.
levels that are related to the sunlight. But yeah,
Yes.
I get that. And here we get all 4 seasons.
Yep.
Some of them more than the other
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
times. But
Yeah,
lately
exactly.
it's been stormy season. I mean, the last year we had tornadoes. You probably heard
Lots of
about that. And, hailed 4 times, which was good for our company. But
Oh gosh, you're right.
in the storm season. But yeah, let's go to the next segment of On the Spot. So I'm going to
Sure.
keep you on the spot just for a second. I know you got to catch a flight and get out of here, but let's go now. Explain this one to me. I've never had goat milk.
Sure.
I've had cow milk, but
Yeah.
we transitioned our kids off of dairy products off
Yeah.
of cow milk when they were kids and
Yeah.
went to almond or whatever the other soy or
Almond
what,
juice?
whatever
Sorry.
that.
I'm sorry.
So educate me and Jill on.
Yeah.
No, let's go. So either or. So is it goat or cow milk for you? Your preference?
So
Consumption. You consuming it. Consumption.
consuming
for
milk,
you and your kids.
cow milk.
Okay.
A2A2 raw cow milk is our
Excuse me?
preference. We do A2A2. So there's a protein in that milk that is easier to digest.
Okay.
And so honestly, if it's raw milk, I really don't think you have to worry about it so much. but it is a thing for folks. So you find that A2 milk, and that's the closest thing actually to goat milk that you can get to. Goat milk is the most digestible milk. So my sister Jill, when we were kids, was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. My mom got a goat, and Jill could digest that milk. Otherwise, she could not.
She never told me that.
And Jill had the situation where she was diagnosed with failure to thrive. So she was tiny, and as a mom, you're thinking this isn't awesome.
And you're her older sister,
I'm
right?
her younger sister. I'm Jill's younger sister.
My bad.
That's all right.
My bad.
That's all right. Everybody said that our entire lives, but
that one's on me, Jill.
So Jill could drink goat milk, and when she would go get diagnosed, or they're going to test her.
So this was way before Kodiak, goat, dairy, and all that.
And then my mom was diagnosed with MS.
Right.
And so we were trying to find natural sources for food. When I got to Kodiak, I felt, I didn't have those health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Goats had a lighter footprint. They were easier to keep. But a big one, everything in Kodiak has to be flown in or brought by boat.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the planes don't fly,
right.
and if the boats don't sail, we don't have anything. It's not uncommon for our shelves to be empty. But there's the one thing of natural disasters, too, for us. Like volcanoes are threatening to erupt right now. Well, that shuts everything down, which would leave infants and toddlers without formula if they weren't able to have their mom's milk. Goat milk is that replacement.
Okay.
So it could keep infants and toddlers alive. So there's this idea, for me, being at a mission, being thoughtful about what's going to be helpful for my community. While you hope you never have to use it,
right.
to have that is really great.
How about during COVID and all that stuff?
Everything worked. Because I was a registered dairy, I still had the state come in to test everything.
Okay.
It was okay.
But there was a season where you couldn't get formula and stuff,
exactly.
At least here.
And that happened for us too. And I had a number of people that called and asked, hey, can we get goat milk from you if we can't get this formula in? And so that was a big one. And then that cow milk, that A2 is the closest to goat milk. My kids like cow milk more. It has butter. You have cream. It's harder to get with goat milk. So goat milk, I make goat milk ice cream and feta cheese. Those are my number ones with the goat milk. But
don't we have some goat milk?
Skyr.
Yeah.
That's cow milk skyr, probably.
Okay.
So I have the cow milk skyr and then the just straight cow milk.
Okay.
Drinking.
So I mean, either way, cow milk,
both,
goat milk, either or. Let's go. What's your favorite platform or most effective? Instagram. Are you on TikTok?
Instagram. I do not do any TikTok.
Okay.
I have looked at TikTok. I just can't. I don't like it. I can't like it. And then I never pay attention to Facebook, but it connects from Instagram to Facebook. But I've had to a little bit because I'll get messages over, and I'm bad about responding so much to messages. I try, but I forget on Facebook. Instagram's my favorite.
Okay, by far, huh?
Yeah.
Now I hear you and your family have this musically inclined gifting that you had the opportunity to share with the congregation in your hometown this weekend.
Right.
So what was your favorite, give me on either or, what was your favorite part? It was a 3-part medley from what I understand.
Right.
And I did see some of it on the
not
social
bad.
media platform. What was your favorite one? Which one did you nail?
Well,
which one did you kill?
I am a hallelujah, I'm ready. And everything, Jill made the comment, she's like, gosh, we're going to heaven.
Can you?
But.
Yeah? Can you? What is it? Which one's that?
That hallelujah, I'm ready. Hallelujah, I'm ready.
Okay.
To go.
And what were you saying? I'm sorry, I interrupt you. I just wanted
no,
to,
but I think that it's never when you know Jesus, it's never a bad day.
Right.
Like if you die, like that's fantastic. If you're here, that's like
come on, preacher.
I mean, it's
let
fantastic.
them know.
Well, anyway. So I think there's a lot of joy in that, and taking away the fear of, gosh, if you die, you're like, no, it's a great day.
Right. So you play the guitar.
I do.
Jill?
Sings.
And your mom?
Sings.
And your dad?
Piano. My mom used to play the piano, and my mom taught me the guitar. And that was one of those things when her MS was developing, I remember her sitting, holding my hands on the guitar to help teach me. And she said, if you just know DAG, you can play anything. And so she used to play the guitar. We were the wonderful Well and Sick singers. And we'd go around.
Say that again. What were we?
Wonderful Well and Sick singers. And so we'd travel around.
Well and Sick. Gotcha.
That was our maiden name.
Okay.
Singers. So our last name is Well and Sick. So my mom.
Hold on a second. You lost me. So are we well and sick? Sick and well?
Well and sick.
Or are we well and sick?
We're well and sick. but we're always well first. But my mom was a nurse, and she said she had to marry a guy that worked out with the.
So that's a
her
legitimate last
occupation.
name, Wellensick?
Wellensick. We are German, so it would be in German to be Wellensick.
Okay.
Wellensick.
Oh, there's more to the story that I haven't heard.
Golly.
She didn't share that with me. Let's go by the numbers
Okay.
on the spot. Let's go followers on Instagram and Facebook. Is that a big thing? I'm new to the whole social media thing. We're getting involved with that.
So I started with Instagram. We started at 0, and the original page we had kind of a crew of us that were doing it, and it's transitioned through the years to be me.
Through the Kodiak Baptist Mission, through the goat dairy, through.
It was just a few of us that decided to do this on our own to kind of see like our personal life being in Alaska, what was happening. And through the years, it's transitioned into just my page. So never paid for any followers, never done the everybody comment at one time. So it's all been just grassroots.
Organic, which is kind of how you live.
Yes.
That's how you roll.
We are, I am at this point, I think I'm over 140,000.
And where is that on the scale? Is that a lot of followers?
For me, it's a lot of followers.
And do you keep growing that?
Yeah.
Or does that ebb and flow based on?
It does. It depends on, sometimes it just depends on what you posted as to what's going to grow. But I've also had, I'm losing 1,000 subscribers a day. If I post something.
For no apparent reason?
Well, if I post something that's a little controversial. So if I do our beef harvest.
Okay.
Or a hog harvest or something. There are days that I'll come and I'm like, wow, lost 4,000 subscribers. That's not popular.
It's like looking at your bank account or something.
Yeah.
A little bit of gambling going on there too as well.
Back and forth. And then I don't know on Facebook. I don't know what that number is.
Your primary platform is Instagram.
It is.
That's
and then
awesome.
I like YouTube. I don't do as much on YouTube because it takes a little bit of extra time. But
yeah, that's the interesting part of it. And this is what I talk to Jill about all the time because we are a part of, we follow you, Carrie and I do, my wife and I follow that. And whenever she's with you, I says, how much time is she spending on putting these things together? According to what we see, it looks like it's you're spending a ton of time and effort and energy and creative resource on that. Is that true?
No.
Or do you just got it down to a science?
When I started, I was like, I am not taking any stand anywhere.
Correct, yeah.
So I will put and prop my phone. I always make sure I have and I've broken it since I've been home, a back cover, a front cover on my phone. And then I just go, if it takes too much time, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And then the same thing with a reel. I have it in my mind and I'll take a lot of videos and I kind of have them in a queue. And then, gosh, a song will pop up where I'm like, oh, here's this idea. I just made one with my parents that a song came up and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, we got to do this. And they're like, what are we even talking about? I'm like, let me prep you. Or Steven, my husband, he's always really fun to do reels with. He's the fun one in the family.
Right.
So if I can be like, hey, can I have 15 minutes? And he's like, yeah, let's do this. But if I take if it's too long, then he won't want to do it.
Right.
So it's got to be quick to the point. And then
Would you say that's a gift of yours, whatever that is, that creative piece of social media?
I enjoy it, and it's what I enjoy. I'm really thankful that
you're just whipping out the camera whenever you got a thought and just going with it?
I go with it, and I really talk like I'm talking to my mom.
Okay.
So you don't talk and you never use that, hey guys, how is everyone? Once you all, no, I'm talking
kind of like you. I did, hey, Royalty Roofing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but how are you doing?
Right.
And it's always a personal connection because you're talking to a real person. And I've developed some of my best friends through Instagram.
Okay.
And it's odd,
and those are just media friends, or are they actual?
So Ann of All Trades is one that we met online through some type of cow something. And we have become good friends enough that I've been to her farm. And she has been to Kodiak with me. Melody, Renaissance Homesteader. She's
and you met on the social media platform?
Met on social media platform. Melody has become one of my best friends. She comes up to Kodiak in the winter now and helps me put on a Bethlehem event. And we met on Instagram.
Okay,
and I bring her whole family, and we all do that together.
That gets to, so what is the purpose of the followers or the subscribers? What's the end game?
Yeah.
What's the outcome that we're looking for? How do we measure success? Is it based on views? And
so the first thing is,
or does everybody have a different purpose for being engaged with social media?
Yeah, I think that I think everybody has their own purpose behind it. For me, it's been a great way to connect. I feel like it's part of my ministry.
Okay.
So I like to connect with people. I like to share what I do. I'm a firm believer that hard work needs to be shared.
Okay.
And that's what I do. And when you show up every day and you're putting your face in front of the camera every day, you're milking a cow and cleaning a fence and pulling manure, it's impossible to be fake. It's real.
Right.
And I think that there's a huge part to, if you work hard, if you're willing to get out there and do something, it's good for your mental health too. It's good for your overall being. So I like to share that with folks. And somebody like my mom, who now can't walk and can't do things, a long time ago, she said, Kelli, I want you to be my hands and I want you to be my feet. And that is a huge motivation.
And play
to
the
me.
guitar.
And play the
And play
guitar.
the piano or whatever you do.
I mean, it's all part of what we do.
Right.
We are carrying on a legacy of, whether it be that mentor that came before you, your parents that were there before you. We have a responsibility to not let these things die. And this is what I feel like I can offer, and I enjoy doing it. I love it when I have folks that are like, oh, I love watching your story. It's motivating.
And it leads, so it leads to inspiration.
Yeah.
They say influence, right, in some form.
Well, and it's been helpful. Like Duckworth is one that I work with. They reached out to me. It's a clothing company that's 100% American-made wool. They reached out. They're like, hey, you wear our stuff already.
Right.
Do you want to be one of our ambassadors for us? And so, yeah, I do get a little bit of something, but I can also share something I believe in that I'm using. Or, I have other little items that I use. I'd use it anyway.
Right.
So I'd love to share that with somebody.
Yeah, that's awesome. So along those lines, my last question and on the spot was, you never know which reel or whatever is gonna go. What is it viral?
Viral.
Yeah.
Pop. Yeah.
What is, by the numbers we're gonna go? What's the greatest views? Is that the measuring stick? Is views?
Views, yeah. Views or likes. I don't know. I think I have 8 million maybe.
Okay,
I don't know.
and then I want to know why that one went 8 million.
Know. Well, okay, so there is some, and this is where you have to be somewhat tough a little bit. So, like my dad and I did the reel, one of these reels where he's processing tomatoes. That one did really well.
So they can go to Kodiak Goat Dairy and see this reel?
Yeah, Kodiak Goat Dairy.
Or and he's doing the tomatoes, turning it into pasta sauce?
Into sauce, sauce. There are lots of great comments, and there are horrible comments.
Okay.
I have another one that has a few million views of me hugging my cow.
Okay.
So you get these great comments, and then PETA finds you.
Sure.
And it all goes to hell in a handbasket.
Okay.
And you're going down this horrible line. It's great because it drives engagement.
Right.
You have to be like a water off a duck's back.
Thick-skinned.
Let it go. Respond to sometimes I'm a little bit frustrated, and
Right.
I'll engage. And I'll keep pushing something down. Like I have somebody that'll comment and they'll be like, well, I don't know. There was one odd thing that I said, oh, I think this may not be the right place for you. And the person was like, what do you mean on earth? And I was like, no, you are very much wanted and needed on this earth. God loves you very, very much. Please, you are needed. But I don't think a cow dairy as a vegan is a great place to go.
Right, you're looking for a fight if you're tuned into my...
And sometimes it's fun. And again, you're going to get the bad, but you get the good.
Now, the last one, the asparagus one, that went viral as well. Now, what are we doing here? How do we go from into 1 point whatever to... What is it at now? Millions of views.
Millions of views. I don't know.
What's governing that?
Consistency.
That's all?
That's
the primary...
Be consistent. Don't be scared to post anything.
Okay.
And you're getting past yourself. You're getting past and that's the other thing. It starts to take a lot of time when you start to second guess yourself.
Yeah.
When you start to wonder, oh, is this going to be good? Is this
right.
I'll look at something, I'm like, this is going to do awesome, and 1,000 views. I'm like, are you joking me?
1,000 is bad.
And then I'm cutting towards my hand, and I'm like, you're kidding.
Right.
Just post it.
Okay.
And I post it for me. It's me. It's not about, I enjoy doing it. This is who I am.
Right.
They'll tell you, be thoughtful about your niche down. Find what you really are about and follow that. But to a certain extent, just do it.
Just let it go and have fun with it.
Fun.
See what happens.
Yep.
Let's go now. We want to talk about the Kodiak Baptist Mission. You've been the assistant executive director. How did you get into that first?
Yeah, it's 21 years in now. I started as a volunteer. I just needed enough money to pay for my college.
College.
Yeah, the college I had just gone to. But I really liked the ministry. I didn't want to farm, so I wanted to go to Alaska. I became their child care administrator. So it began
Okay.
back in 1893. Saw lots of changes through the years. I was
1893. This been
That's
going.
when the mission started.
Okay.
Yep, and we saw lots of changes. I was involved when it was the second largest child care facility in the state.
Okay.
So lots of kids, day camps, and our primary purpose is to bring as many people to know Jesus as you can.
Okay.
And we do that in unconventional ways. Today it's a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
We no longer do daycare at
Okay.
all, but we do our best to reach entire families and do it through a number of ways, whether it be a blacksmith shop or the farm that we have.
Which is the goat
Yep, that's our
goat dairy
Yep,
farm?
goat dairy. And that
Okay.
originally started, Kodiak Baptist Mission funded all that to get started. They helped me start
Was
the
that
dairy.
before you got there? The
No.
dairy was already going, or that
No,
dairy's on
I
you?
started it.
That's why on your social media you're the Kodiak.
Yeah, goat dairy. We were
dairy.
the only grade A certified dairy in the state for a while. And I was the first person to start a dairy in like 20, 25 years, which nobody wanted me to, but I was really interested in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And my boss, Johnny, who's been just a partner in crime, he's always like, I'll give anybody enough rope to hang yourself. But then he found out that I actually would follow through.
Yeah.
So later he's like, I don't know why I did that. Like, oh my goodness. But
So they interface and integrate the goat
They do.
dairy and the Baptist mission?
yeah, so we all work together there.
Okay.
And originally they helped get the start. I've since bought the farm. And so we work together. So like the Kodiak Farmers Market is at the farm.
Okay.
And so I might own the animals, but that's a great avenue to bring folks in. We have mini donkeys. So the mini donkeys are walking down the aisle at Palm Sunday and part of our Bethlehem event at Christmas. And we very much, if we supply a lot of food to low-income families through our goats, chickens, hogs. Those are areas that we don't talk as much about because out of respect for families, and also we don't need bad publicity because, it's Kodiak. We don't have a certified butcher.
Right.
We are doing those things.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
so-
that on some of your reels.
Right. So that's a big part of the ministry, and it really intertwines.
Okay.
well.
Now the funding, it is a nonprofit,
Nonprofit.
501c3,
Yep.
so it requires some funds to run the organization.
I do a lot of grant
You
work.
do? Okay.
Yep, that's kind of my jam. I don't love it, but I do it. I'm
So
not
grant
bad at
means
it.
what? That's federal funds?
No,
That's-
it's a lot of sometimes federal funds. I don't like those as much.
Yeah, they come
so
with
I'm
some.
part of a grant database, and so I can look. I can do keywords. I really love to. I just was self-taught to learn about what that is. Go into the website, figure out who the people are, where that
Okay.
grant's coming from, who are the individuals with that grant. If they're people, are they family run? If I, tell them my why, am I going to get a person? Recently we got one from the farm, and one of the grantees, who was the daughter of the original trust that it was a part of,
Okay.
called me and said, I really love what you're doing.
Hmm.
You're smaller than we normally want, but to have a person, she said, but I just want to give you some money.
Right.
And so those are the people you want
Yeah.
to try and find, because if you're a small organization, you want to make connections.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of it. We also have folks that donate across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just get busy getting smart about things. So whether we're, renting out certain areas so that, like we run a residential camp on a nearby island. So that camp is used for pay for certain groups, and so it can be for free
Sure.
for other groups.
Sure. That's interesting. So you've been there 20 some years. It's existed since
Right,
1890, whatever. It's evolved a little bit recently since you've been, especially if you take leadership of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will continue to evolve. Where do you see this thing going in the next 5, 10, 20
Yeah.
in terms of the evolution of it?
That's always hard, but it comes back to the simple part again. We want to bring as many people to Jesus as we can.
That's the core.
At the core. And so being flexible to do that however possible. Just like right now, I love horses. I've been really into that. We had a really fantastic, vibrant horse ministry. Had 3 boys. Would love for them to be involved in that. They are not. We now have 2 horses on that side of the water, and my riding arena is turning into a pump track for bikes. And my horse trail that I love
Multi-purpose.
has now turned into a mountain biking.
Okay.
And we have 20 boys that want to be there. So what's going to drive people to us? The other part, even though I'm a woman, I do have 3 boys, and I know that a great way to bring families to Jesus is through the dads and the families.
Sure.
And they're not necessarily attracted to certain things. So yeah, we do build flintlock rifles, and we do forge knives, and we do axe throwing and archery, and
Okay, go ahead.
But those are currently great ways to reach people. And then
That they always haven't done since 1893, but they just keep getting creative.
Right, and that's just it. Be bold enough to say, this isn't working anymore. Let's do something different.
Right. Until we find something that sticks. Kind of like putting a reel out there.
That's right.
The one you think is going to do great flops.
Exactly.
The one that's like, oh, she's cutting asparagus backwards, goes off the chain. But anyway, we identified, this is my last point.
Sure.
We talked about, the core, what's the core of the mission as it relates to the Baptist, Kodiak Baptist mission. You personally, what's the core of at the core, if we uncover it, what do we see in terms of your why of the social media? I think you talked a little bit about it, but I mean, what's governing your why? Because it doesn't, from the outside looking in, it looks like you're putting in a ton of work. You enjoy it, so you consider it a gift and a strength of yours that just comes naturally to us. But for those of us that it doesn't, it looks like you're putting in a ton of work. So there has to be an underlying, and I'm sure it all points to a certain.
Well, I get a lot of joy from it, and I like to share that. I have extra that I like to give, and I like to share.
Extra what?
Just me,
Yeah.
who I am.
Okay. You're extra?
I am. I'm extra, and that's okay. And I have that joy in me. And what's so neat about social media, it doesn't have to now just be with your immediate circle.
Oh, no.
You can let that grow and be bigger. And I do love Jesus. I don't love church always. I don't love the religious, how it all
Come on, tell them.
Well,
talk about it.
But I want to be a Christian living out my faith, showing that. I don't want to preach it. I want to show it.
Yeah.
And this gives me a way. I feel I am a missionary. I think when you're called by God, you are a missionary. This is the best way I can share it.
It's a platform that reaches across the world, right? I mean, people that are viewing.
I have a great friend in
Tell
Lebanon.
me about her.
And no, it's a guy that's in Lebanon, and he originally contacted me. I was like, this is a stalker. But he's a Christian guy, and he's like, I love goats. And he'll talk every once in a while, and he does, and he sends me his goat pictures. He's like, Miss Kelly. And I went to visit my mom here, and he'll check, and he said, please tell your mom hello, and may Christ be with her, and we love her. I've never met him. I never will meet him. But he's become a long-distance fellow believer in Jesus, and that's good for me, too.
Yeah.
I get a lot from it, too.
It's fulfilling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's
Proud of you.
fun.
You're doing a great
That's
job.
fun.
Thanks for
That's
joining
fun.
us on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for keeping me moving.
You're welcome. Safe travels back to
Yeah, thanks.
Alaska.